Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it.
What up, H-Town? I am not Rudy Segura. Dustin Richardson here with you guys for another edition of the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. We've got a lot to talk about this week. First things first, Rudy's not here, so we miss Rudy. He's on vacation. We let him take some time off, which is only right. He does a lot of the work here. He does all the work here. So shout out to Rudy. I know he'll be listening. Enjoy the time off, my friend. And that means you get me as a substitute. I know it's not as great as you want, but I'm here. I'm going to be joined by Christian and Joey. They are on their way, so stay tuned for that. But we have a lot to talk about this week. There's been so much going on. Another loss at home. We've got goalkeeper injury, goalkeeper out for the season. We've got a friendly tomorrow. Well, today when you're listening to this, if you're listening on the podcast, against El Salvador. And then a trip to Seattle on Saturday, which is going to be tough. Rudy talked about how things are not going to get any easier, and they are definitely not. We have a huge hill to climb after the start to this season, which has been disastrous, I think you could say. Pretty safe to say that it has been about as bad as you could imagine. The point in Columbus seems to be a very much an outlier at this point. The one road game that they played against one of the better teams in the league, they happen to have their only clean sheet of the year and their only point of the year in that game. So we're going to talk about the RSL game, what the heck happened. We're going to talk about that goal that Bossy scored that did not count. We got to talk to the referee after the game digitally. We got to ask the referee our question. We got their answer, so we'll talk about that a little bit, what we thought of the call. I know a lot of you have opinions. Was it a good call? Was it a bad call? Was Ponce actually blocking RSL's keeper? Was he not even involved? We'll talk about all that. And then the big news from today about Andrew Tarbell, we will talk about coming up as well. You have to feel for Andrew. He was a backup the last couple of years, or was last year, 2 years he's been with Dynamo. He finally gets his chance, and he gets injured. And here is my friend Joey, right on cue.
Gentlemen.
Is that a New Mexico United kit you've got there?
Yes, it is. Home opener Saturday. I'll be there.
There you go. We won't talk much New Mexico United on here probably, but it's all right. Yeah. So
we could talk about Mackenzie Gaines. He got a goal.
Mackenzie Gaines, and Talon Maples, right? The former Dynamo contingency.
That's right.
Have made their way west to New Mexico. Eric Quill left, and now it's becoming Dynamo 3.
Dynamo 3, that's right. There's some more guys I want to. Diego Gonzalez needs to get his butt over here.
You're ready for the Diego Gonzalez to USL.
I'm ready for that. I've been ready for that. He should have been there this offseason.
I'm honestly surprised that he hasn't either been given a chance to show something with the first team, or moved to USL or something. I mean, he's great for Dynamo too. He's a good leader. He's a good guy to have around for a lot of these young kids. But I'm surprised just for his career.
Yeah. The thing is, where he plays in that 10 role. I mean, he's competing with. Well, he was competing with Bossy, Coco, and Kovalchik for that role, and now instead of Coco, it's Bladero as well. So it's kind of the tough path forward. We don't need 5-6 players on the roster that all kind of do the same thing.
Yeah, you seem to have as much as we talk about how they have some depth at they're at left wing. Then we hear Ben this weekend basically crying out for help in other positions.
Yeah. Get this man a center back.
Can we get Ben Olsen a center back, please?
You know that like thing of Black Panther is like, get this man a shield. Can you get this man a center back?
That's Ben. Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit when we talk about the game, but Ben seems to be Ben's normally a little, on edge, but he seems to be I mean, who can blame him? They've lost 3 out of 4 games.
Yeah, I'd be on edge too, man. Was an
So
RSL.
yeah. So let's just get into it. Christian will jump on here shortly. Let's get into it. Dynamo news. What Dynamo news is there other than not great right now, unfortunately? But last Saturday, Shell Energy Stadium, for the 3rd time this season, the Dynamo took the field at Shell Energy Stadium. For the 3rd time this season, they lost. RSL 2-1. Another game, and this is Rudy Slides, another game where the Dynamo were the better team, and they just couldn't convert, right? They had, 2 XG or something.
Yeah.
They had 15, 16 shots, and it's just at some point you would think that the soccer gods would even out, but so far it hasn't been that way.
No, it just really hasn't. It's unfortunate.
And they conceded in the first minute, which I don't even think you were home yet. You were
no, I wasn't even. I turned the TV on at the 5th minute.
Yeah, Joey messages the group I just got home. What the hell?
Dude, it's been a theme this last year, man. With the Dynamo, there's 2 games already this year. They concede so early, and then with Arsenal, there's 5 games over the last year with Arsenal where they conceded in the first minute or 2 of the game before I even turned the TV on.
Yeah, in the first minute, and to get basically counterattacked in the first minute, that's hard to do. Dynamo take the ball up the field.
That's what happens when you have Obafemi think he's a defensive midfielder and step up a good 5-6 yards further than he should have.
Yeah, Femi stepped way up to Diego Luna, who was outside the box, and
then of course Bartlow has to shift over, and then Escobar has to shift over and leave him in no man's land to cover a 2v1 against the keeper.
Great ball by Luna to find.
It was fantastic.
I think it was Anelli, and then Anelli just has to square it. It was a good finish by I think it was Mark Suk.
Was it Gonçalves?
Yeah, their DP, who we had talked about all during the week, that has been,
not good.
He has 1 goal in MLS and he scores.
No, he's 2.
But yeah, you mentioned it. It's Femi just being green. We've seen good Femi and we've seen bad Femi. And what do you expect from a guy that's never played at this level before and he's just getting thrown out?
Yeah, I mean, we need center backs. I mean, I'd rather him not start every week. I vouched for him early in the season, but it's been too many mistakes now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like Ben really sees Daniel Steres as much of an option as well either, because Escobar is still having fitness issues. He's still not fully there yet, so he's got to have an option for him on the bench, so he can't really put Steres in either.
Yeah, you asked Ben, I think it was your question, right? You asked Ben about the Femi and Bartlow partnership, and Ben's answer was basically, they're the only center backs I have.
Yeah, that was my question. He answered my other questions very nicely too.
Yeah, we can get
to that. So that was it's tough. I think on for the pregame this week, I'm going to ask him about Steres at the center back position and see what's going on there. If that's an option.
Hefe and Joey show. Our boy Manny watching. Check out Manny tomorrow. Orange and Blueprints. Talking everything Houston Dash.
That's right. Maybe that's even maybe Ben could even try Steres at center back in the El Salvador game for a few minutes. It could be an option.
Yeah, I got to be on the conference with Ben today, and we tweeted some of the stuff. But Ben said that he wanted to give guys minutes that haven't had the chance to get minutes, So you would think Steres is going to get a good chunk of that game. And I don't know who else he plays at center back because, like he said, he doesn't have any center backs. So,
maybe he puts Isaac in.
yeah, he brings up some Dynamo.
Felipe Andrade.
Yeah. I mean, Andrade would be worth a shot, right? Like you brought him over here thinking that he's going to be, kind of your next Mikael, where he spends a season with Dose and then becomes a first-team guy. But, heck, you might need him a lot faster than that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to risk Eric in there, but maybe if he needs some fitness, they give him 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, I mean, Eric's thing is so weird because he was hurt the first game, then he came back from Miami, only played the first half, and then we haven't seen him since.
Yeah,
It's like it's hamstring or something, and that's concerning for an older guy that's if they're dealing with muscle injuries and things like that. It's not a great situation right now. I'm just gonna say that.
no, I mean, some other guys that should probably get some minutes in this game. I think Duenas will get some more minutes. Junior Urso should probably see the field. We still haven't seen him yet, so that's an interesting one.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about the lineup this weekend because there are some holes now that will have to be filled by Olsen and the staff, and some interesting choices to make.
And unfortunately, 3 center midfielders just taken right away from us for national team call-ups.
Yeah, I mean Sebastian's has a first team contract, but he's more a second team guy. Sebastian Rodriguez, that is.
But hey, when you have both Brooklyn Reigns and Jack McGlynn off with international duty, I feel like Sebastian Rodriguez would be one of the guys who gets on the bench when they're gone.
Yeah, you
kind of have to. You just need numbers.
If you
bodies.
look at their center mids right now, you're almost going to have to play Duenas there.
Or you're going to have to go either Duenas and Artur or Urso and Artur.
Urso and Artur, yeah.
Or you could drop Sebastian Kovalchik to an 8 and bring Aliou back in on the left. That's also an option.
There are options, but they're not what we'd hope for. Still waiting for that DP10.
Or maybe find some way to get Siegel on the field as well with Ponce somehow. Get Kovalchik in midfield. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about with Rodriguez. He's in France. He was posting on his Instagram this morning before they even announced it. I saw that he's in France with the Mexico team. We were talking about this a little bit in our chat, but yeah, Sebastian Rodriguez, Houston kid, looks like he's leaning towards Mexico. I know we talked to him on a week or so ago. We got to interview him, and he talked about how excited he was to represent Mexico and how they had called him and been tracking him.
He's a traitor. He's Judas.
Sebastian, I'm proud of you. even if Joey is just being selfish and wants you on the U.S.
Yeah, he could be an important prospect. He's good, man. 17, you never know what he could turn into.
I mean, especially with the Dynamo 2 team, like he's basically like the guy now in their midfield, right? Like he
scored an opening day.
Yeah, it's crazy. Looking over now at the stats against RSL is a little small, but if you can see it, I mean the Dynamo again, they basically dominated in all of the statistical categories, and they just, for whatever reason, they can't find the back of the net. I think the biggest miss was that Ponce header.
Yeah, that was awful.
Kind of ran into Dorsey, or Dorsey ran into him, kind of put him off. But from 6 yards out, yikes.
Yeah, that's when you just got to put in the back of the net.
You got to just knock Dorsey off out of your way.
It's a shame too because outside of that one moment, Ponce had a fantastic game. He was really good.
He did. Like he did exactly what you wanted him to do on that goal, right? Like McGlynn's gonna whip that ball in with pace. I'm sure they've trained on that 100 times. They've played that exact same ball across, and Ponce's just got to beat his man basically to the spot, and he did it perfectly. then he just, I don't know what happened on that other header. I think it was Ladero that chipped it across the box, and he
It was Ladero.
just got off balance. But yeah, XG wise, shots wise, it was all Dynamo, and except on the one that matters, 2-1 goals. See what else Rudy's got on here. Oh, we'll get to Seattle here shortly. A couple other things from the RSL game. I think the other big news, two big things from that game. First, after Ponce scored, made it 1-1. I mean, Bossy scored, and what we thought was the go-ahead goal. But unfortunately, after a lengthy VAR review, these VAR reviews have got to be faster.
They're way too long. Oh, I can't wait till Chris gets in here. We could have that discussion.
Yes,
Chris is very passionate about this debate.
Chris loves him some VAR. We'll let him. We'll let him get to talk about this still, but yeah, it's just way too long, and they call it back. They call Ponce offside, basically for blocking Rafael Cabral, RSL's goalkeeper, from seeing the play. We asked the referee. As pool reporter, you get to ask the referee questions, a little behind the scenes for you guys. There are designated people from each club that are allowed to basically speak to the referees. The referees have to answer to. We are one of them. So we asked Marcos de Oliveira, who was the referee, what he saw in that play. We knew what his answer was going to be, but just his perspective of it. And he said exactly what we thought, that Houston's number 10, Ezequiel Ponce, was interfered with the play and caused Cabral to, I guess, not see it. We talked about this a little bit today in our chat, but
yeah. After seeing you talk about the actual wording from the rules, I do agree that it should be disallowed.
Yeah, I mean the rule itself says something about, I can't remember it exactly.
It was in line of sight. Yeah, it was. I disagree with you until you sent that specific text and it said field of vision or whatever it said. Yeah. And then I was like, you can't really argue against it. Then it's not a goal.
Yeah, so it's basically that a player interferes with another player's field of vision, which is super vague, and we can argue that that's a really dumb way to write a rule, and I would 100% agree with you. But the way that it's written, it seems like it was the right call. I know Dynamo fans hated it. Ben was not pleased with it, to say the least.
Yeah.
But even then, right? Even taking away that goal, it's 1-1. You're at home. You feel like you still got to go out and get the job done, and they didn't.
No, exactly. Can we bring up that comment from Dago here? I want to discuss this.
Yes.
So here's the thing about it. We're getting linked to random players because it's silly season. That's why. A lot of these guys, like the guy from Serbia, it's his agent stirring up things because he wants to get his player a new deal at a new club. I mean, you look at that guy. He was failed loan at Feyenoord, comes back to, was it Red Star? Is it Red Star? I think it's Red Star.
I'm looking him up.
And then he's absolutely flopping back after the loan, so he's probably looking for a new situation. So that's why those things kind of pop up. A lot of times, Slavia Prague. Okay, so a lot of times these teams will look for teams that are struggling or teams that maybe had rumors like, oh, the Dynamo or a team that's been rumored is looking for a 10. So that's how they fabricate those type of things. And a thing about no ambition. I could go out there and make a rumor about the Dynamo being linked to Freddie Adu. Does that mean the Dynamo showed no ambition because someone made a rumor about them? No. So those two things don't really correlate, what their actual ambitions are versus what gets rumored on Twitter or whatever.
Is Freddie Adu still available?
I think he is. I almost picked him up on one of my FM saves the other day. I'm doing an FM save with the expansion team, only allowing American players. And I was almost going to pick him up with some wing depth.
Nice. So, yeah, Dago's question was about the Dynamo getting linked to Andre Linger and Kari. And yes, Glenn Davis did say that there are legs. Glenn's new Glenn's new thing, #legs for Linger, which means that it's being talked about. It's a possibility. I mean, looking at this guy, and we've kind of looked at his stats and his numbers, his Football Manager stats, his EAFC stats, anything you can find on these guys, because there's not a lot on guys that play in the Czech league and stuff. I mean, if they're spending DP money on this guy, it's I'm not impressed.
Who said they are?
I don't think anyone has said they are, but I'm just saying that they're still looking for that DP, and hopefully it's not this guy. If they're bringing in another guy like this, though, that's not a DP, he's going to be an international, and I believe they only have one international spot open, so that would limit their DP search quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't really think there's too much to it. There's also a possibility that someone could be on the out. I mean, Sebastian Gavulchik could be on the way out. This is kind of you look at his numbers; he's a very similar type of player to Sebastian Gavulchik, so that could be something.
Yeah, I mean, you could always move somebody within MLS too. We talked about center back. If you wanted to go get a center back, you could maybe move one of those, one of the midfielders that we talked about. I don't think you're going to move any of those U22 left wingers.
I'm about ready to move Gavulchik. I think I'm done with him.
I mean, we're seeing him basically in a long run as a starter, and I think we talked about that. He's just not it right now. Brandon said Tarbell out for the season, horrible start, meaningless game, and going to Seattle. I already have a headache. Yeah, we're going to talk about.
Oh, hold on. Let me fix this for this gentleman.
Those things for.
Here we go.
Yes. Amaze said no Bassy background. Joey fixed it for you.
There we go. Got to get that Bassy background in.
Yeah, and so what Brandon mentioned it, but shortly after the disallowed goal from Bossy, it was later in the first half, Andrew Tarbell went down. It didn't look good right off the bat. We were talking in our group chat like, oh, that looks like his knee. That could be his ACL. Word comes out today. Sure enough, it is his ACL. He is out for the season, and I talked about it a little bit in the intro before you got on, Joey, but you just have to feel awful for the guy, like as a person.
It's so sad. It's a tough thing to come back from. We were talking about it earlier. Like, there's just the general state of goalkeepers in MLS too. I mean, when you're one of these older guys who's a career backup, who knows what even the market is for him when he comes back in a year? Because he's not going to be on the Dynamo. They're not going to, unless they give him some sort of pity charity contract. He's not going to be back.
Yeah,
contract's out after this year,
and that's something that I think has been a question mark, right? Like, originally Xavier Valdez was like, oh, he's the goalkeeper of the future, right? He was the guy that they were gonna, once Clark and Tarbell were done.
But then he was awful last year.
Then he just wasn't good with Dynamo 2, and they let him walk, and now they're basically down to Jimmy Maurer and Blake Gillingham, who was a undrafted college guy. They've got to be looking at keeper, right?
They have to. We're looking at some names. Tyler Miller's available. That's not a bad shout. Just someone to compete with Jimmy Maurer, at least.
There is a guy who has some history with this club who has still not signed.
Steve Clark.
Steve Clark is available. I mean, we talked about it a little bit. Like, it seems like a guy like Clark not being on a team is just kind of him officially retired, right?
I really think he's soft retired. We kind of know Steve Clark as a person. We've kind of got to know his personality over the last few years. He's not a very open guy. He's very reserved. I could see him just soft retiring, not saying anything. He doesn't want a big parade or anything. That's how I see it with him.
Joe Willis would be a good signing, except he is Nashville's starting goalkeeper. He just saved a PK on Sunday. So
they wouldn't let him go. No way.
No, he saved a PK and then saved the follow up. It was a crazy double save if you haven't seen it. So yeah, Joe Willis is
They have
not.
two former Dynamo goalkeepers now, because Valdez is their backup.
Yeah,
now, I
Valdez
think.
is there. Yeah, so like, do you get a free agent? I mean, we mentioned Clark is. I don't know if Clark's a possibility. I'm sure it will come up to Ben on Friday.
Mhm.
The goalkeeper question, and maybe in particular Clark. But
More of a pet question for Pat, but yeah.
yeah, it's more a Pat question. Ben's not really gonna answer that. Sell Kowalczyk and bring back Elise. They thought about bringing Elise back this year. They had him in to train and stuff. He just wasn't at the levels they wanted. They also don't need another left winger. And Elise went back to Olympia, I believe.
Yeah, he's back at Olympia.
Honduras.
He's
So,
on. Has he played yet? Let's see. I don't know if he's
I
played
don't know.
yet.
Yeah. But yeah, while you're looking at that, you mentioned Tyler Miller. I think William Yarborough, who has been around MLS. He's a guy.
Mhm.
He's like 35. He's kind of just a guy.
He's played 4 games so far on the return. Has no goal involvements yet.
There you go. So yeah, I don't know if Elise is. It would have been a cool story, but unfortunately, he had that major health scare, and it was
He wasn't playing good soccer for a good 2 years before that, anyway.
Yeah, he was playing on a really bad Bordeaux team, and wasn't really at his best for them.
He was struggling in League Two.
Yeah, the second league of France, Bordeaux has been a mess, and they finally got relegated all the way out, I think. But outside of free agents, I mean, you could make a trade. We've talked about in the press box and in our chat, Drake Callender possibly. Miami's goalkeeper. I think that's the guy that we, the BCS collective, have wanted. It seems like Oscar Ustari is their starter now. He got a red card, and then Rios Novo, I think that's his name, Rocco Rios Novo, started last game for them. Calendar's back from an injury, so it looks like Calendar is falling down their depth chart. And he's a guy and he's a guy that's got U.S. national team caps. He's still 28 or something, like prime goalkeeper age. And you have Gam now, right? You've got over 3 million as of that last release. And Asher's been very open about getting up from their very low amount of Gam, selling Mikael, stuff like that. They've been able to get Gam. I mean, this is the time to throw some of that away, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy who's available. I don't know how long he'll be available, but it's I think it's a good option.
Well, Yarborough is a free agent. Yeah, Yarborough, I mentioned he's Colorado. I think he's maybe somewhere else.
San Jose. He was awful at San Jose.
Yeah,
awful.
I think he was with Leon in Mexico.
Yeah, he was with Leon in Mexico for most of his career.
Yeah.
That's when he was like the third choice keeper for the United States for a while.
Go get Callender. That's what we're saying. Like, they're and not just Callender, but Callender's probably the guy of MLS guys on MLS rosters that aren't playing right now. And you got to think if you're Miami and you can get what are we saying, $500,000 in Gam for your third choice goalkeeper,
first round pick too. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, give him a draft pick. Like, I mean, Miami seems like they're done with them. So, I mean, go for it, right? He was so good at Leon. Dago said, yeah, that was earlier in his career. He was, and I think that's what kind of got his name out there. People didn't really know who he was. He was this American, Mexican dual national kind of guy that no one had ever heard of. And then he did really well at Leon. Michael Nelson should come back. I don't know where Michael Nelson is.
Michael Nelson's still playing? Or isn't it Tulsa for a bit, I think?
He was, I believe it. Yeah, he was in the USL somewhere.
I think he was at Tulsa. Let's see, where's he now? He is still at Tulsa.
Okay. I mean, yeah, Michael Nelson.
I don't know how I knew that, but I knew that.
Brandon says, "In Pat we trust." I'm sure he would know a decent goalkeeper who's available. Yeah, I mean, Pat should know. Maybe Pat himself puts the gloves on.
Hey, he'd still be good.
He's
Probably better than Blake Gillingham.
He still could probably give you a pretty good game.
It seems like Blake Gillingham was brought in to be the backup at Dose.
Yeah, because he's been backing up Pedro Cruz, or in the one game they played, he backed him up. Tim Howard should be able. Yeah, like between Pat Onstad and Tim Howard, right? Like you have two guys that should
for sure
should know goalkeepers.
I mean, if they want to spend big money, there's Ethan Horvath's probably available.
You could.
I don't know how worth it that would be.
I mean, honestly, like you saw Zach Steffen come back, and all of a sudden he's remembered how to be a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's been damn good.
So maybe the same thing happens for Horvath. Transfer market shows Michael Nelson retired.
Michael Nelson retired? Okay.
So he's not available. Sorry to all the Michael Nelson fans that thought
everyone's favorite player
thought that he might be a possibility. We love Michael Nelson here. Don't get me wrong.
Has he ever even made an appearance for the Dynamo? Yeah, he did. He made 11. That's right.
He did? Wow.
Yeah, it was 20. It was when was it March that was hurt? I think it was March. Who was the goalkeeper in 2021?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was March. Oh, Kyle Morton's also available.
Oh, yeah, Dynamo Legends. We're talking here.
Yeah, might as well bring back Alejandro Fudmayor as well if we're bringing back the USL Dynamo Legends.
Sign Ederson from City. Now that would be ambitious. I don't know that I don't know that you're going to get Ederson, but
yeah, Doggo with Velez, he's going to be an international. I don't think they're going to bring in an international. That'd be kind of a poor use of that last spot.
Yeah, they only have one international spot, which is important to remember as we talk about like adding guys, whether it be center back, whether it be this DP that they're going to do, whether it be goalkeeper. They're kind of running out of spots here. They could always trade for one, right? Like, and they have the GAM now kind of piled up.
That's true. They could trade for an international spot
if they wanted to. So, I mean, they have some flexibility, which they didn't have.
I do think an international spot in a goalkeeper would be kind of a waste of the resources right now, though.
Sean said Pat can serve as goalkeeper. That's what I said. Give Pat's got a few games left in him. But that does bring me to the question. It's going to be Jimmy Maurer going forward. We're 99% sure. How do you feel with Maurer in goal?
You know, he can play. You know, it's not like he's a bum. So they brought him in as a backup for a reason. He's not a horrible goalkeeper. He could do a job. I don't expect him to be great, but I don't think he's going to be terrible.
Christian.
Oh no.
There he
Chris,
is.
You're just in time for us to talk about VAR.
He laughs. Oh, May said, "Did you know Doral Farson, free agent? What happened to him?"
What happened to him? He's not a good soccer player. That's what happened to him.
He was good in college, and then that's about where he peaked.
He scored a few goals because he has a fucking hammer of a right foot, but he actually had no skill at soccer. So
he has a very good agent that somehow got him a move to the Lithuanian second division or wherever he went.
Is that where he went?
I don't remember where he went. It was somewhere in Europe.
The second Icelandic league. Look at that! What a beast!
I mean,
he only managed to make 11 appearances and scored 2 goals.
No, he went to Debrecen.
Oh, that was before he was on the Dynamo. Okay.
The Hungarian.
Okay.
They're in the first tier. They're the top tier.
Oh, that the Hungarian Premiership over here.
Christian,
who's the best ever player in the Hungarian league?
Are you alive, Christian? I think you're muted. I can't hear you. I see your mouth moving, but Christian's working through technical difficulties. Amaze said, "Bring back Memo."
Yes,
turn the mic on. Yes,
I'm all for bringing back Memo, man.
Hey, it does help It does help if you turn the microphone on.
Rudy doesn't like Memo.
Yeah.
He loves Memo. What are you talking about? They're
Rudy
best
hates
friends.
Memo.
Yeah, Christian, we're talking about RSL.
Yeah.
All right. What about him? Tell me.
Well, the Dynamo lost to them. They weren't
Pretty
that good.
straightforward, huh?
They weren't that good before this game, and then they came to Shell Energy Stadium and won.
The Dynamo are really good at getting the best out of other players and other
Yeah.
teams.
Do you guys think Daniel Rios is going to play tomorrow? Is he on the El Salvador squad?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know.
Who is in the Salvador squad? That's the question.
Is
Is
Darwin?
Seren playing?
I was gonna say, is Darwin
Yeah.
Seren still there?
That's the question. The
That's what
return
the
of the king.
That's what the people want to know. Will the king be back?
Yeah, let's see. Did they announce a roster?
Does he have
Uh,
another girlfriend? That's the true question.
This
too
is
too
what
soon?
the people want to know.
Sorry, Seren. Sorry. We just had to.
Let's see. Nathan Ordaz is the most valuable player on the team.
Well,
Who that?
that's
LAFC
guy.
kid.
Yeah.
Anyone
All
else
right.
I even know on this team?
No.
Any
Probably not.
Salvadorians on the chat? Let us know.
Oh, Darwin Seren is on there.
Yes. All right. So if you don't have your tickets yet,
Oh, Jairo Enriquez. I know him too. He was at Colorado, I believe, right?
if you don't
Yeah, he
have,
was on the switchbacks.
there's other Christian who calls to Glenn's show. Is that you?
No, I
You call it a Glenn
unfortunately
show?
don't. I don't call it to Glenn show. I called twice, I think, like forever ago.
Taco said he does have another girlfriend. He posted on IG. There you go. You made Christian's night. Thanks, Taco.
All my research, put to use.
Yeah, Christian, what'd you think overall of the performance?
I mean, I think the team played really well overall, right? Obviously, it's one of those cases of like lost a focus in the beginning and at the end, and that's where you just got banged in 2 goals, and that was just that.
Yeah.
Overall, I think the team played very, 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 very well. Everybody just kind of like did kind of what they had to do. I think they still need, I don't know. There's like a piece missing, in my opinion. I don't know if it's a 10. I don't know if it's a creative piece. I mean, you guys would argue that they are creating, and they did create. I mean, you see all the XGs and all the shots on goal. So obviously the creation was there, right? But I just feel like, I don't know, seeing Luna, you just kind of feel jealous because you're like, man, why can't we have a Luna? Like he started both of those goals and he finished one of them, and you're like,
I would
man.
argue that Bossy had a better game than Luna.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, you could, but Luna was involved in 2 goals and Bossy was involved in none of them. But that's
Bossy
just,
could Bossy scored the 1 goal. It wasn't his fault that Ponce was offside. And I mean, look at all the chances that Bossy created. It's not Bossy's fault that other guys can't finish off plays.
This is true. But at the end of the day, like you guys like to say, the hard facts speak, and Luna was involved in 2, and they won 2-1. So
yeah, Luna's going to be special. I think he's going to be in Europe by this summer.
That's what a lot of people are saying, huh?
Yeah,
I thought he was going to be this last offseason. I thought him and McGlynn were the 2 for sure players that were going to be in Europe for the 2025 MLS season. I didn't think either of them would be back, and somehow McGlynn switched teams and it wasn't to Europe.
Luna got screwed not being on the Olympics roster, and then he basically took it out on MLS last year.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's really good.
Even better. Yeah. Brandon said, I truly believe this is a decent side because it's better to get unlucky and poor form early on in the season, but frustrating. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. And we've said this before, MLS is such a long season.
Yeah.
Like four games in, 1 point from 4 games is obviously a crappy run of form. But at the same time, there's, 20, 30 other games?
Yeah. I mean, we saw, what was 2 years ago, Sporting Kansas City didn't win a single game until middle of May. That was when they got their first win of the season, made the playoffs, and knocked off the 1 seed. So
that's crazy.
We beat St. Louis that year when St. Louis's expansion team was number 1 in the West. Yeah.
They rocked up into that. I mean, me and Chris saw in October how freaking intimidating that building is in St. Louis. They walked up after not winning a single game till halfway through the year and beat them there.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there are obviously some issues at play, and it's 4 games, and it's a very small sample size, but it's a sample size, right? Like we're seeing some things like we talked about. The center backs are not what you hope for. Now your goalkeeper's out for the year. You don't really have another. I was telling somebody this the other day that, and not in our group, but like when the ball's in the box, like the only guy that is even remotely a threat is Ponce.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like Kovalchik, Ladero, and Bossi starting.
Yeah, at some point, I don't know. Like Ladero, I love Ladero, and we talked about this, and I think you mentioned it in your ratings, but like Ladero needs to be on the ball.
He
Like,
needs to be a ball dominant player.
Why is he in the team if he's just like just kind of running around? Like
For sure.
if he's gonna start, get the ball at that man's
That's
feet.
why I don't want him to be a starter. He shouldn't be starting. He provides no value over a natural winger like Aliou.
And he was really good off the bench in that Miami game. They were down 4-0.
Yeah.
So it was not the best.
Yeah, I mean, he does get gassed out, right? Eventually, all the running around, because like you guys saying, he runs less when you have the ball on your feet because you make the ball run, not yourself. But yeah, when you have a player not on the ball like he should be, then it kills him, especially when he's playing 60 minutes to start the game. I mean, as much as I don't like Aliou, I think having a winger, that can do all that work and stuff like that, and then bringing in somebody like Lodeiro to probably close down the game, that's probably the best way to do things, right?
It seemed like Ben Olsen disagreed on the night. He was either he disagreed or didn't want to admit that he was wrong.
Yeah. Joey asked him if they possibly needed more like width on the wings, like someone like Aliou, and his answer was no.
maybe because the question was very specific to open up the field, and maybe like the game needed like more of an up and down type thing.
Yeah, maybe.
That's I mean, like I say, even though I shit on Aliou, even though I shit on Aliou, I think obviously the what he does is the back and forth. I feel like opening up the field is not that hard. You just got to sit on the wing and be consistent in the sense of staying open. Because a lot of people, if you see Kovalchik, he likes to drift in because that's just his personality.
He was making me so mad with that. So mad.
But those players are they have it in their nature to drift in, not stay out, and that's just the thing. He's playing out of position.
There was one play in that game where there was like a link up on the left side with Escobar. Escobar starts like trotting forward, makes a fantastic run with the ball on his feet. He like looks to his left for the overlap, and Kovalchik's like on like the right wing. Like Kovalchik's like the complete opposite side of the field of where Escobar is expecting him to be. I'm like, where is this guy? And then Escobar gets double teamed and loses the ball. It's like someone needs to be there to create some sort of overlap or width when players run with the ball, or unless you're just going to get collapsed on and you're going to have no outlet.
And that's the risk that you run playing with 4-10s, basically. Like, when you have Jack, Lodeiro, Kovalchik, and Bossi, like they literally play the same position. Like they'll have the same qualities. Like they want to be on the ball, they want to have the ball, they want to distribute the ball, and they can't all do the same thing. So like, if you have a Jack McGlynn and I don't know, and Nico Lodeiro kind of playing a similar role, then who's not going to have the ball and who is, and who's going to defend and who's not, because defending is not their strength. So you're going to leave
Kovalchik can defend
like,
at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Ladero doesn't really defend very well, but
he doesn't have the fit for it.
But Kovalchik's also just like at this point is just so useless on the ball that it's like, what's even the point of having him on the field despite his defense?
Unfortunately,
he can't. His work ethic is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, fantastic work ethic, and I love him for that. But is that a TAM player on an international contract? Probably not at this point. And I wanted to give Kovalchik that chance because I really liked him in phases as a starter last year. He had spot starts. He wasn't ever consistently starting until maybe that last stretch of games where he looked really good. But now where he doesn't have a Coco to come in and replace him, and he has to be the guy, the pressure is completely overwhelming him, and he's playing like crap.
Yeah.
So before we get to Seattle, El Salvador on Wednesday night. Do we expect anything from this game?
Not
No, I
at
don't
all.
care.
I don't even know if they're either showing it anywhere. Like honestly, is there any way to watch it?
I don't
Wait,
think
they're streaming it?
I don't think it's streaming anywhere.
Edgar showing up with the phone on a tripod again?
Shout out.
Shout out to our boy Edgar. Bringing the phone on the tripod. Yeah, I honestly like it's good to get guys minutes and that's cool, but yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right.
Just no one get hurt, please. That's really all I care about.
Yeah,
we can't
especially
afford,
now, right?
we can't afford any more.
When
injuries.
the game makes some money and make sure no one gets hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make some
a
money.
win-win.
Get some more all El Salvador fans. Shout out to you guys. It's gonna be awesome atmosphere. We've been to some Gold Cup games at Shell with El Salvador.
Ooh.
It's
Games
insane.
on the Seattle games on March 212th. I didn't know there was that many days in March.
Look, Rudy's on vacation mode. Okay, we can't expect him to get everything right.
He was like, I need to extend this vacation as much as I can.
He's like, I'm trying to make March like 300 days. March 22nd actually is when that game is. Seattle, at Seattle.
That comment is funny.
We are MD Anderson FC. I mean,
It's a hospital here, by the way, Joe. Just
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
It's
And it's a sponsor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a cancer center, but it's a good joke.
Yes.
Shout out Dago.
Shout out. Yeah, so Seattle, this could get much uglier, Rudy says. They go to Seattle, a place they have never
It's
won.
going to.
Ever, never won, ever in Seattle.
Crazy.
Now they have to go there without McGlynn, with Jimmy Marr as the starting goalkeeper. Things are not looking up.
I'm frightened.
You got
Like,
nobody because
oh my
even Brooklyn
God, if,
Reigns is out, right?
Yeah, Reigns and McGlynn, right?
Peter Musa and Lucho Acosta were giving them fits in the pressing game. What is Jordan Morris and Jesus Ferreira going to do to them?
Is
My
Rothko
God.
playing? Or is he with the national
Rothrock.
team?
Rothrock.
Rothrock, he does not play with the national team. I would love him to. He should be on the national team.
He's a thug. Like
He's a thug. He scores on the Dynamo every time.
I was about to
Every
say,
time.
he's the Dynamo's dad, too. Like, he scores every time they play him.
yeah,
Yeah.
that guy's a problem.
He's only ever been on a U18 United States team, man. Get this guy a senior cap, man. I don't care that he's 26 already. Get him a senior cap.
Yeah.
At least in January camp or something. Come on.
I
Come on, Koch.
would have guessed he'd done a January camp, but I guess
I'm actually surprised he wasn't in this last one.
Yeah. Because he's kind of all the rage of the MLS guy. Like, obviously, he plays for Seattle. That helps because they're one of the biggest clubs in the league. But
He reminds me of like a Chris Pontius type of guy.
that's a good shout.
Jackass.
Different Chris Pontius.
Oh.
That's the same guy, though.
Or maybe even like a Chris Rolfe type of guy, maybe too.
Chris Pontius used to play for. I remember him at DC. I think
In Philly.
Oh yeah, Philly. He was at Philly.
And he also LA Galaxy. He was Zlatan season. He was there.
Yes, but yeah, looking at Seattle, they had a rough go in Mexico against Cruz Azul.
He got wrecked.
They're one of those teams that like every year they start slow, and a lot of it is because they're always in the Champions Cup.
Yeah. Right.
So they're like juggling. Like RSL beat them because they rotated a lot of guys. They lost to St. Louis in a game that was just super dead. They just seemed like they walked around. But then you can see when they actually want to try, they dominated LAFC last week, and it's a Seattle team that they scare the crap out of you.
Yeah.
They have to. I mean, they earned it, right? I mean, it's one of those teams that if you think MLS, you kind of have to keep them, like have them in a conversation of championships, trophies, all these things that any of the trophies, like be, the Shield or, MLS Cup, Seattle's going to show up one way or another. I mean, I don't know what they do over there. Like, I don't know what kind of drugs they're giving them, but it's a club that has become like a staple of the league, and you just kind of have to respect.
Smart recruitment, man. Look at their recruitment every year. It's always so smart. They don't really make bad signings. It's pretty rare. I think De La Vega is probably like the exception, not the norm when it comes to making a splash signing from him. And even De La Vega's had some pretty good games to start this year so far too. It's like you might even attribute his bust last year to the injuries he had because he's been good this year.
Yeah,
And they grow players too.
Oh yeah, they have their pipeline of
Levia, Vargas, Reagan,
the
there's a bunch
Roldan
of guys.
family.
The Roldans knew who they developed. Paul Rothrock, this the Mino Wangu guy that's been coming up lately. We saw him in the playoffs last year. He's against the Dynamo. He's a threat. He's fast.
Yeah, and with Morris out, it seems like Morris is going to miss.
Morris misses this game. Okay.
Yeah,
There's no Areola either, right? He's out for the year.
Areola tore his ACL. He's gone.
That's a shame. That's a second one, right?
Yeah, the one thing I will say in the Dynamo's favor, if we can put something in their favor, Seattle has a lot of injuries. De La Vega has been dealing with stuff. Morris has been dealing with stuff. That's why they had to play Rusnak on the wing last week. And that Minanongu guy who came up from their next pro team, he's super crazy athlete. But they still have the Roldans. They still have Jackson Reagan, who had a shout for MLS Defender of the Year last year. Stephen Fry, who's one of the best goalkeepers maybe in MLS history, if you want to put it out there.
Easy.
And Jesus Ferreira, who's now their number 9. They just like Raul Rui Diaz, if I could say that correctly, basically got older and stopped producing, and they were like, well, let's just go get Jesus Ferreira.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't been great in terms of goals yet, but his work ethic still shows. He's still a very good passer. He's great off the ball in the pressing department. He's a type of striker like Ponce. What you like about Ponce is he could have a positive impact on a game without scoring. We like those kind of strikers. So Jesus Ferreira is that in a nutshell.
Yeah, so let's look at the Dynamo 11. It's going to be different than this. Tarbell's out. It's going to be Mara.
Repeat. That sucks about Tarbell.
Yeah, we talked about
you get your break and then everything goes to shit. Like,
yeah, you got to be. You were a backup. You waited your time.
We'll get no McGlynn.
No McGlynn and no Tarbell. You would think that they're going to change something in that front three, right? Kowalczyk, Bossi, Ladero.
I would take Ladero out for Aliu. That's what I would do. Oh, I really want to take Kowalczyk and Ladero out for Aliu and Dueñas. That's what I would want to do. But I think they're gonna need Dueñas in midfield because they don't have options.
Yeah. You think Dueñas starts for McGlynn?
Yeah, I think Dueñas does. I don't. If you put Junior Urso in, Junior Urso is at this point in his career is not really much of a distributor, and you need someone to, unless they're just gonna go full park the bus mode, which I talked about that in the chat earlier. Is like just if they want to do that. Dueñas, Arthur, and McGlynn, or not McGlynn, Dueñas, Arthur, and Urso, and just absolutely park the bus. That's an option too.
Yeah,
4-4-1-1, just straight up like sit in the back, and then on top of that, if you had Escobar not finishing a game, you don't have any other center backs, or other than Steris. I don't know, play like 3 center backs. I mean, at this point, who knows? I mean, the problem is for Ben, right? Like, there's so many, and I think we kind of heard his frustration, when they asked him about the center back. I think it was you, Dustin.
Yeah, it was Joey.
And with Joey, yeah. And he was like, well, that's all I got. You're like, oh, damn. It was like, was that like a quick jab to the people building the team, right? To Pat and Ashley.
Cry for help. I don't know if it was a jab. Ben's not the type of guy who would give him a jab.
He's definitely like, hey, get me somebody.
Yeah. One of those. Yeah. Not a jab, but like,
can we bring up that comment from Doggo about the scouting?
They know he's talking about Seattle.
I'm gonna really disagree with that one, man. The Dynamo over the last few years have shown some fantastic scouting.
They're getting a lot better, especially with what was that? What's that? FTBL? Who is that? Their name? The company that they use. third
for the
party
data
guys.
and stuff. Yeah, for the data analysis, the analytics department. Their scouting's been good, man. I don't know what you're seeing. Ponce has been a good signing. Bossy's been a good signing. I mean, just look since the kind of the Ben Olsen era started. It's been more good than bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they scouted Mikael. They scouted Coco Carrasquilla a few years before that. Bossy. I think Kovalchik was well scouted because I think Kovalchik absolutely fits Ben Olsen's system to a T. He just hasn't been.
Yeah.
He hasn't really been able to elevate past just a system fit kind of guy in a year like right now where we need this guy to be a starter and a guy who goes above and beyond. He's not really been able to elevate his level to that. But I still think he's a good signing and a well scouted player for what they need.
So they just need like a wow signing, like
a DP.
Yeah, literally, right? Yeah, like literally that. And I think that's where we're all kind of waiting for, right? Like who is going
in the
to
off
be?
Season? We don't know yet. They're still trying to make additions. I mean, they scouted. McGlynn wasn't that hard to scout, but he's been a very good signing so far.
It's only one of the best.
I mean, they didn't really have much flexibility to make moves in this offseason. They were waiting on departures. They were waiting on Coco to depart. They had to figure out what was going on with Sebas Ferreira. Mikael kind of disappeared last second, so they probably didn't really have any center backs scouted in line. And it seems like from what Asher has been talking about, and what Pat's been talking about, they have guys in mind for a DP10, but they're trying to negotiate, and they might have to wait till summer to get a better negotiation and get the player they want.
Yeah, before we wrap up on Seattle, worth mentioning, Obed Vargas and Nuhu are out Saturday.
Oh, okay.
That's a positive.
So they're going to be without Vargas. They're going to be without Nuhu. They're probably going to be without Morris, De La Vega, who are struggling with injuries. So, I mean, if there was ever a chance.
If there's time.
No, Frere will be there. He's not with the U.S.
Are we
drawing Seattle would
I mean, if we could get a little Daniel Steres smash and grab off a corner, I'm with it.
Hey,
for real.
That's what's going to happen. That's my prediction. That's it. Daniel Steres, 87th minute, 1-0 Dynamo. That's what's happening.
And then just hang from the post.
That's right.
All 10 of them.
Park the entire bus, take the wheels off, just take the engine out of the bus.
Put some blocks on it, that's it.
Put that sucker on blocks.
We are full Houston. We are due a Daniel Steres 1-0 win at least once per season. So why not now?
I'm in.
Imagine. I mean, never been done, right? No wins in Seattle. This would be the first, and to do it in the worst moment of the Dynamo this year.
That would be very Ben Olsen. Very Ben Olsen. He's a guy who always seems to rise from the ashes, but it seems like things are going to shit. So,
yeah, this would be the one time where you're like, it's never going to happen, and then for it to happen,
Jimmy Maurer with 14 saves.
I mean, Christian
Tim Howard possesses him.
Well, I was gonna say something about more. I was gonna say 8 saves.
Ooh,
8 saves.
So, 8 saves.
That's your divination. All right, let's do it.
I think it's gonna be he's just gonna be freaking going in every direction like this.
He does know Jesus Ferreira. They played in Dallas together.
That's right. Yeah, he knows his tendencies. He's out of the
He knows where he's going to shoot. He's going to.
He knows Paul Arriola too. He's not playing him, but he might be thinking Paul Arriola is teaching some of those guys.
Yeah, he's going to make 6 saves on Ferreira just because he knows him like a book.
Right. I mean that helps, and also the competitiveness of I know this guy, I can't let this guy score on me. I mean, those are some of the mental
they
things.
Actually, hated each other,
right? Well, there you go. Play into that.
Yeah, you're like your boy. I can't let him do that to me. All
exactly.
Right, before we wrap things up, we're almost at an hour. D2 news, not a lot, right, Christian? They didn't play this week, and then they were supposed to play Thursday, and it got moved.
Yep.
To this weekend because a lot of them are probably going to be playing against El Salvador.
A lot of them.
Good.
A lot of people might see Batioja.
Hey,
Arsu. So
this is our Batioja Arsu chance, right? Hopefully Diego gets some minutes.
I don't care about
Jeez.
Diego. And we talked about this earlier in the show. I'm just
Joey's
not-
ready for Diego. To
yeah.
go
I'm ready.
to
I'm
USL.
ready. I'm ready for Diego to sign with New Mexico. It's just about time.
It's just in the future. It's in the stars.
It's part of his career arc now. He has to
It's in
join
the-
up with Talon Maples.
It's in the logo of Bayou City Soccer. It's just written in the stars.
That's right.
That's just how it is.
You don't make it at D2 or with the Dynamo. You go to New
Papa
Mexico.
and Doy's joining up too.
I mean, hey, going to New Mexico and it's a good USL team now. Promotion, relegation. Hey, you know,
Mackenzie Gaines scored.
could
Yeah,
be
he
fun.
scored.
Could be fun.
Mackenzie Gaines looked damn good in that game.
He's found his level.
I'm
They're
excited.
flourishing.
Do I have to live stream the Mackenzie Gaines cam on Saturday when I'm there?
Yes,
You might have to,
We want only Mackenzie, just a camera on him.
and only Mackenzie instead of OnlyFans.
All right, boys. Before we wrap it up,
Only Mackenzie fans. There you go.
there it is. Before we wrap it up, what are we thinking? Joey's already coming out.
I already came out hot with it.
Daniel Steres winner.
87th minute.
A
Christian,
1-0 win in Seattle.
Christian, are you as confident?
I am not. I wish I was, honestly. I really wish I was confident, but I think this is gonna be a shit show, and people are gonna, I think us kind of softening in the blow, if that's whatever how you say it.
Yes.
But I think us saying, look at this team and look at this team, right? And look at the players that they have, and look at the players that we don't have because they're all injured. Next Monday. Or actually, we have the Dash podcast coming up right tomorrow.
Yeah, Dash podcast tomorrow. We have the Spanish podcast on Thursdays. Rudy's out, so somebody will.
No.
It won't be me and Joey
Might
because our
do it.
Spanish isn't that great.
Yeah.
But we'll have somebody.
I might jump in there, or we'll see if we can find somebody.
Yeah.
For David. But I'm going 3-0. 3-0 Seattle, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that.
I
was gonna.
I don't think there's any way they just get destroyed like that with all the injuries.
I hope not.
I think we see a similar type of game to the Columbus one, where the Dynamo kind of just guns blazing park the bus.
I think it's 2-0 Seattle, and it's one of those games where Seattle has like 16 shots and 8 on target, and yeah, Jimmy Marr probably makes some crazy saves because he's jacked up to be a starter again, and he's jacked up to play his boy Jesus. But but saying that, Seattle's got some injuries. They're coming off a loss to St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this Dynamo team obviously is not at its best right now, but it's MLS. You never know. Weekend in,
Here's
week
a
out.
draw is possible too.
I mean, they played away at Cruz Azul. They got eliminated, right?
Yeah.
They went to St. Louis. They lost. They're back home with their people. It's a refresher, it's a cleansing the palate type thing. And what better than a weak Dynamo? Why not? But I mean, hey, I'm hoping for a win, but I'm trying to be realistic and knowing what Seattle is.
A draw would be fantastic.
Yeah, same thing as Columbus. A point from Columbus or Seattle at their home is 3 points for us.
If you told me 0-0 was the result, sign this paper, I'll sign it right now.
Right here,
Yeah.
with blood. Just
Absolutely. I mean, the saying a road point is never a bad result in MLS.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you're playing.
So for any last comments you boys have before we
What's next after Seattle?
Portland away,
Okay.
and then LAFC here, and then the Galaxy away.
They're gonna get their first win against
Galaxy.
Portland, and what the coach is gonna get sacked. What's his name?
Neville.
Phil Neville's gonna get sacked. That's what's gonna happen.
That guy's wild.
Yeah, Seattle under arrest training, hopefully down with Calmer. Yeah, a lot of hopefullys. There's a lot. All we have right now is hope.
Literally.
Literally,
Like,
we have 1 point and hope.
It's just going through the roster. You're just like, it's dry. Like, there's not a lot of pieces out there. I mean, Ben said it. Like, this is what I got, right?
And we talked about it before you came on. Like, they probably need another goalie because Blake Gillingham, he's like the Dynamo 2 backup, and he's going to have to be your first team backup. And heaven forbid something happened to Maurer.
Yeah.
Pe-
Mara is what,
Pe-
36, 37?
Yeah.
So, his bones might be weak.
Pedro might be seeing some first team minutes quicker or faster than what we thought he was.
I wonder if they'll use any of the loans for him.
I mean, I think that's if you're going to use them, you would use them. I mean, let's give Maurer a chance first, right? But like,
Yeah,
if Maurer is not that great, then you might have to put some loans for Cruz, short-term loans, like give him 3 or 4 games.
You at least also got to hit up Miami for a calendar, because if you could get that deal done, that's your long-term goalkeeper.
People want Drake Calendar. Pat, I know
That's
you
interesting.
listen. Asher, I know you're listening.
Might as well.
Give him 500,000 GAM. You got some GAM now.
You got some. You
And
got some
4
game.
first-round picks.
Give him all your draft picks.
Give him all the
entire
draft picks.
Just give them directly to Messi. Let Messi have a scope of the college system.
Send.
Imagine Messi watching, like, I don't know, UCLA or freaking I don't know. I don't even know the
Just
colleges.
get Messi Ohio State.
Messi shows up at a North Carolina and Duke game. Like, what is he doing here? Oh, he's scouting. He's got.
Messi just asking questions.
Why are they stopping the clock?
What are we doing here,
What
guys?
is this thing?
Sip
All
his
right.
Michelob Ultra.
Yeah,
Michelob. No, Michelob.
I'm telling you, I don't know. It's been 3 years now. She still hasn't fixed that damn thing.
That tap's broken still. All right, boys. Good show.
fine.
Good show as always. Christian, tell the people.
Yeah, Bayou City Soccer, guys, on everything and anything. BayouCitySoccer.net is a website. Go to YouTube. Go ahead and comment and like there. Subscribe if you haven't. We're very close to the 500, so do us a favor, go there. Instagram, we're close to the 1,000 followers, so go over there and follow the account if you haven't. On the X or Twitter, we're close to the 2.5. That's pretty good. So go and subscribe there if you haven't, or follow over there. And we're just continually, gradually growing as the Houston Dynamo. Kind of.
Yes.
We're growing faster than them, I think. But
right now, our trajectory is
at BayouCitySoccer.net, guys. Go check us out. Ugly Guppy, uglyguppy.com. And if you go to the matches, Elotes Bravos, I think they're in 213, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around the stadium. Go find them. Really good corn in a cup. A very Mexican dish. I don't know. It's not even a dish because it's in a cup. But, go try it. It's really good. They have churros. Dustin's kids will back up on that.
My daughter, big churro fan.
Big churro people over here. So shout out to the churros and Elotes Bravos. Go check them out.
Yep. Thank you guys. Thanks for all the support. We love you guys. Everyone listening everyone watching on the live stream, comments, joining in with the show.
Last thing, if you are listening to the podcast right now, go ahead and leave a review, please. Leave us 5 stars and just let us know. Comments there. You can comment there. You can chat there. But all the comments and stuff like that kind of help us push on that. On the algorithms. So help us out there.
Jay Hurtado, shout out to you, my friend as well. And for Joey, for Christian, I'm Dustin. Rudy will be back next week. Sorry you had to put up with me. I'm Mr. Popular now. You see me on all these podcasts.
He's making his rounds.
The people want more Hefe.
He's dropping an album late soon, so
yeah,
he's doing his rounds.
Gotta do my world tour. Yeah, so we'll talk to you guys next week after the Seattle game. Hopefully some positive things to talk about next week's show. And until then, take it easy, guys.
Later.
All right.
We're still live.